Hey there, this is Chris Sanchez, and this is my Module 4 reflection. I watched the video through Deaf Eyes on YouTube, and it was a great video to watch. I really enjoyed it. I guess the first thing that kind of struck me, and it's obvious that it happens, but it's really cool just to kind of it's really fascinating to see is how interconnected communication and culture are. Um, Language, be it Spanish, Russian, English, whatever it is, just the major influence that language has on culture and the formation of culture. Um, and of course, it would make sense that ASL or people who are hard of hearing or are deaf, how they were able to establish, develop, and advance a whole culture. Um, and it was really neat to see. And I saw a lot of parallels between that and even in New Mexico. My mom used to tell me stories about how when she was little, they would really discourage to the point of punishing them at school of speaking Spanish. And I saw some of those parallels in this video whenever you know American Sign Language kind of started being a predominant form of communication. Um, but of course, people who hear and people who weren't used to that, and obviously that see someone that doesn't have hearing as different, they kind of they want to influence them to make them recognizable. Okay, so so English or sign language was different. So they made attempts to stamp that out. Okay, and even it was even pervasive among people who were hard of hearing and who were deaf. So I thought that was a pretty cool little parallel there. It's also kind of cool to see. I mean, they have the same, just kind of the same divisions about cochlear implants and should you get them, should you not get them. Again, using sign language, not using sign language. It's just cool to see the different contrast that this culture has created. Um, yeah, so I mean, it was really neat to see that. I like how they were very adamant and of course that people who can't hear, people who are deaf, they are capable, and not only are they capable of doing everything else a hearing person can do, they are almost emphatic in the fact that they don't feel like they're missing out on anything. I found that really interesting. You would think, oh, you can't hear, you can't, it you you can't hear music, you can't hear this, you can't hear that, but it doesn't seem like, especially to the people that were interviewed in this video, that they didn't really look at it as they're missing out on anything. They don't feel like they're missing out on anything. They have a complete fulfilled life, and I thought that was really cool. And how did that relate to the classroom? Okay, so I mean, obviously, if someone is kind of submerged in this culture of deafness, and learning to communicate using sign language. Obviously, in the classroom, you want to have someone, if not yourself, be able to connect to that culture. I mean, beyond the basic level of just being able to communicate your thoughts, communicate a lesson that you're trying to teach, communicate ideas. I mean, beyond that basic level, just being able to get that information to them, if you're able to kind of connect with the culture that they are being brought up in, especially when it comes to this particular disability, I mean, you're going to help the student more if you're able to connect to that culture. You're going to help them understand it better. You're going to help them come up with their own thought process on how that idea works or that lesson works. So it's very important that that culture is recognized and they are. Brought along to think that, again, just like some of the people in the video, they're not missing out. They are capable of doing everything that a person who can hear can do. And I think that video showed a lot of really good examples of that. So that was really neat to see. Just kind of on a side note, I thought it was really awesome how they were able to bring about change at the university. I thought that was really cool the way they were like able to bring about such radical change and do something that most people would look at them and go, "Oh, they're deaf. They wouldn't be able to do that." They just the way they were protest, the way they were able to organize and bring about that radical change. I thought that was really cool to see. So that's my reflection. I thought it was a very interesting video. I enjoyed watching it. And if you have any comments, let me know. Thank you very much. Hope everyone's staying safe.